Every morning, before the sun fully rises and your day begins, your body faces a critical decision, one that determines whether it stores fat or burns it. For seniors, this decision is even more important because the brain's sensitivity to hormones like insulin and cortisol begins to shift with age. What you do in the first 10 minutes after waking is not just a habit, it's a biological signal. It's a message you send to your metabolism and either says store fat or mobilize fat. Most people unintentionally choose the former without realizing it. But with one glass, just one very specific drink, you can turn the signal in your favor. This isn't about dieting, starving, or extreme workouts. It's about activating fat loss using your own body's natural design, starting with the nervous system and ending with real change in your belly fat. Let's break this down. When you wake up, your body is in a natural fasted state. This is a gift. Your insulin levels are low and fat-burning hormones like glucagon are elevated. But if you consume the wrong thing, say a sugary breakfast or even just coffee with cream, you spike insulin and shut off your ability to burn fat. Seniors are especially vulnerable to this because insulin sensitivity drops as we age. But if you instead start your day with a glass of warm water infused with lemon juice, a pinch of cayenne, a slice of ginger, and maybe a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar, you send a completely different signal. These ingredients aren't chosen randomly. They have direct science-backed effects on the brain and body. The lemon and vinegar help stabilize blood sugar. The cayenne triggers thermogenesis, which activates brown fat, your body's internal calorie-burning furnace. The ginger improves gut motility and calms inflammation. Together, this combination tells your brain, we are alert, we are nourished, and we're ready to use stored fat for energy. That message is sent through the vagus nerve, a critical line of communication between the gut and the brain. As we get older, that nerve becomes less responsive, but natural bitters and thermal stimulants reawaken it. When the vagus nerve is stimulated properly in the morning, the brain receives clearer messages about fullness, energy balance, and digestive readiness. You feel more satisfied, you're less likely to snack unnecessarily, and your metabolism runs more efficiently throughout the day. And this isn't speculative, it's neurobiology in action. Another powerful effect comes from hydration itself. Most seniors are chronically dehydrated when they wake up, which slows down cellular energy production. By drinking a glass of water enriched with these natural compounds, you not only rehydrate your tissues, but also reactivate your mitochondria, those tiny power generators inside every cell. Mitochondria play a central role in fat burning. If they're sluggish, fat accumulates. But when they're active, they use stored fat as fuel. Within minutes of consuming this drink, you're not just hydrated, you're in fat burning mode. At the cellular level, you've told your body it's time to use, not store. Now, consistency is the key. Do this every morning for 10 days and your body begins to adapt. This is called metabolic entrainment. Your circadian rhythm learns to expect this signal, and in return, it optimizes hormone release, hunger signals, and energy usage. Cravings go down, belly bloating decreases, you feel lighter, not just physically, but mentally, because your brain is operating with better fuel and less inflammation. You're not forcing fat loss, you're inviting it through alignment. You're using neuroscience to give your body what it already wants to do. You're simply removing the interference and providing the spark. And the best part, it's just one glass, 10 days. A biological shift that speaks louder than any crash diet or supplement ever could. Most people overlook the fact that fat loss is a brain-first process. Before your body ever burns a single gram of fat, your brain has to give the signal. That signal can only be activated under the right metabolic conditions, and it starts the moment you wake up. After age 60, the brain becomes less sensitive to certain hormones, especially insulin, leptin, and cortisol. These are the very regulators of whether fat gets burned or stored. So the key is not to overwhelm the system with the wrong foods or stimulants in the morning, but to give it exactly what it needs to trigger fat mobilization. That's where this one glass morning ritual comes in. It's not hype, it's rooted in how your nervous system and endocrine system interact. The combination of lemon, ginger, cayenne, and apple cider vinegar may sound simple, but each ingredient has a purpose. Lemon provides citric acid and vitamin C, which enhance digestive enzyme function and support liver detoxification, key for fat metabolism. Cayenne pepper contains capsaicin, which directly stimulates thermogenesis by activating brown adipose tissue, increasing your calorie burn without you lifting a finger. Ginger helps regulate blood sugar and reduce systemic inflammation, two major causes of abdominal fat storage. Apple cider vinegar helps modulate insulin sensitivity, which is vital for anyone over 60 who's trying to avoid fat accumulation, particularly around the midsection. But more than just the nutrients themselves, it's the timing that makes this ritual powerful. Drinking this glass on an empty stomach sends a neurological and hormonal cascade. The gut signals the brain via the vagus nerve, triggering alertness, satiety, and fat-burning pathways. Your adrenal glands adjust cortisol levels to stabilize energy. Your pancreas doesn't rush to release insulin. All of this sets the tone for fat loss, starting from the top down. Think of it as a domino effect. When you hit the right switch in the brain, the entire body aligns. You're not fighting your biology, you're activating. Over the next 10 days, your body begins to respond in subtle but measurable ways. The first thing most seniors notice is reduced bloating. That's because this drink stimulates bile flow and digestive efficiency, especially after years of slower metabolism. Then hunger signals begin to stabilize. That's leptin and ghrelin, your hunger and fullness hormones, becoming balanced again. When these hormones are regulated, your brain stops pushing you toward cravings and snacking. This isn't willpower, this is neurochemical balance. Your brain finally stops begging for sugar because it no longer believes you're in survival mode. Now let's go deeper into how this process continues transforming your metabolism. Around day 4 or 5, something interesting happens at the cellular level. Your mitochondria, which are the tiny energy producers inside your cells, become more efficient. Why does this matter? Because fat burning happens inside the mitochondria. If they're slow, you store calories as fat. If they're efficient, they pull fat from storage and convert it into usable energy. The ingredients in this drink, including polyphenols and natural acids, support mitochondrial biogenesis, which means you literally make new, more efficient mitochondria. That's not just fat loss, that's biological rejuvenation. This is particularly critical for seniors because with age comes a natural decline in mitochondrial function. It's one of the biggest reasons fat clings to the belly and energy feels low. But when you use these natural compounds every morning on an empty stomach, you create a signal that overrides age decline. This is your body saying, I remember how to burn fat again. And because it's done through the nervous system and internal chemistry, the effect is sustainable. You're not relying on external stimulants or suppressants. You're awakening the fat burning pathways that have always been there, just dormant. And it all begins with one glass. Just 10 days, no starvation, no crash diets, no pills, just a strategic activation of your metabolism, your brain chemistry, and your gut-brain axis. What you're doing is realigning your biology with its natural state, one that is leaner, more energized, and less inflamed. And the best part is that you're in control. Not your age, not your past habits, just your daily choice to send the right signal first thing every morning. The process of burning fat, especially belly fat after 60, is not about deprivation. It's about precision. Your body isn't broken, it's just waiting for the right signal. And after decades of exposure to processed foods, irregular eating patterns, poor sleep, and stress, that signal has been dulled. But the body is adaptable, and the brain is even more so. What you consume first thing in the morning sets the tone for the entire day, not only in terms of blood sugar, but also in terms of metabolic programming. The beauty of this method is that one specific glass, taken consistently for 10 days, can reset the way your brain and body communicate. This isn't a quick fix. It's a neuro-metabolic realignment. This drink works by targeting 3 key systems: the nervous system, the hormonal system, and the digestive system. Each of them plays a role in how your body stores or burns fat. The nervous system, through the vagus nerve, communicates with your gut and determines satiety, hunger, and energy levels. The hormonal system regulates cortisol, insulin, leptin, and glucagon, hormones that control whether your body stores fat or breaks it down. And the digestive system is where fat metabolism begins, especially through the liver and gallbladder's ability to process dietary fat. When all 3 systems are activated the right way, especially in the first hour of waking, you create a metabolic environment that supports fat loss naturally. So why this specific drink? Because it works on all 3 of those systems simultaneously. Ginger stimulates the gut, promotes digestion, and reduces inflammation that blocks metabolic function. Lemon activates the liver and helps flush out toxins that interfere with hormonal clarity. Apple cider vinegar supports insulin sensitivity, helping your body use glucose more efficiently and avoid storing it as fat. And cayenne pepper doesn't just make the drink taste powerful, it is powerful. It boosts thermogenesis, your body's internal heat production, which increases fat oxidation even at rest. Each component on its own is potent. Together, they are a metabolic catalyst. But this doesn't work unless it becomes a daily habit. That's the truth most people miss. Fat loss isn't about intensity, it's about consistency. And the brain thrives on consistency. When you drink this glass every morning at the same time, your brain learns to expect a specific cascade of neurochemical events. Cortisol naturally peaks, in the early morning. This is part of your circadian rhythm. If you combine that peak with the right kind of hydration and the right nutrients, you maximize your fat burning window instead of wasting it. You're not just drinking a fat burning tonic, you're anchoring your metabolism to a repeatable biological rhythm that supports weight loss long term. By day 6 or 7, something starts to shift. You may notice your energy levels feel more stable throughout the day. That's not just hydration, it's your adrenal system balancing out, no longer overproducing stress hormones. You may also find your appetite is lower, not because you're forcing it, but because your leptin levels are recovering. Leptin is the hormone that tells your brain you're full. In overweight individuals or seniors with metabolic dysfunction, leptin becomes desensitized. Your brain doesn't hear the signal, so it keeps asking for food. But this drink, by lowering inflammation and insulin spikes, resensitizes the leptin receptors. Suddenly, a modest meal feels satisfying again. Your brain finally understands, we have enough, we're safe, we can burn fat now. There's one more thing, sleep. Many people don't connect fat loss with sleep quality, but the connection is undeniable. Poor sleep increases ghrelin, the hunger hormone, and suppresses growth hormone, which is essential for fat burning. Interestingly, this morning drink ritual can improve sleep indirectly. How? By stabilizing blood sugar and resetting cortisol levels early in the day, your body no longer overproduces cortisol at night. Your circadian rhythm starts syncing again, leading to deeper, more restorative sleep. Better sleep means better recovery, better hormone regulation, and more efficient fat metabolism. The dominoes continue to fall. This is not a gimmick, it's biology working in your favor. Finally, all you're doing is giving your body the conditions it needs to do what it already knows how to do, burn fat. And all it takes is 1 glass every morning for 10 days. Just start, stay consistent, and let the biology catch up to the commitment. The science of fat loss is often misunderstood, especially for those over 60. People assume it's all about exercise or eating less, but in truth, it's about activating the correct internal systems at the right time. After 60, your metabolism slows, not because it has to, but because hormonal signaling becomes less efficient. The key is not to fight your body, but to stimulate it wisely. The first hour after waking is when your body is most sensitive to these signals. Your cortisol is peaking naturally, insulin is low, and your brain is scanning for environmental input. If you give it the right cue, like a scientifically designed morning drink, you can set the stage for fat burning all day. Just 1 glass every morning for 10 days has the power to reset your metabolic trajectory. The drink we're talking about is not a fad or a gimmick. It's made of ingredients that speak the language of your nervous and digestive systems. Warm water for hydration, lemon for liver activation, cayenne for thermogenesis, ginger for inflammation control, and apple cider vinegar for insulin management. These aren't magic foods. They are metabolic activators. Taken together, they stimulate digestion, enhance mitochondrial function, and most importantly, improve communication between your brain and your gut. That communication is critical because your gut sends about 90% of the information to your brain, not the other way around. So when you stimulate your gut the right way, your brain responds with improved energy balance, reduced hunger signals, and increased fat mobilization. As this becomes a daily ritual, something called neuro-metabolic entrainment begins to occur. This is where the brain begins to predict and optimize bodily functions around this habit. It means you start regulating your hunger hormones more consistently. Ghrelin, the hormone that makes you hungry, starts to follow a schedule instead of spiking randomly throughout the day. Leptin, the hormone that tells you you're full, becomes more sensitive, meaning you feel satisfied with less food. But this isn't about willpower, it's about turning the volume back up on the body's own internal messages. Once you begin hearing these signals clearly again, fat loss becomes automatic. Around day 7, your gut microbiome also starts to shift. Certain bacterial strains in your intestines play a major role in whether you store or burn fat. The bitter and acidic compounds in this morning drink actually nourish beneficial bacteria while suppressing the ones linked with weight gain and inflammation. This improves digestion, reduces bloating, and even helps detoxify excess estrogen, something that can hinder fat loss in both men and women over 60. The result? Your belly feels flatter not because of water loss, but because inflammation and gas production are being lowered from within. Beyond the physical effects, something psychological begins to happen too. You start to experience more mental clarity. This is due in part to the improved hydration and mitochondrial function, but also because your brain is receiving more stable glucose delivery. No more post-break fast crashes or midday fog. With blood sugar stabilized from the start of the day, you regain mental sharpness, and that leads to better decision making, more consistent activity, and less reliance on unhealthy snacks or caffeine. Fat loss doesn't just happen in the gym, it happens in every small choice your brain makes, and those choices are sharper when your neurochemistry is balanced. All of this creates momentum. One healthy morning leads to a more focused day, better sleep, and a more optimized body by the next morning. When you combine this drink with light movement, even just walking, and avoid processed sugar during the day, you're not just burning fat, you're reprogramming your metabolism. And what started as a simple 10-day challenge becomes a lifestyle, one where your age doesn't dictate your waistline, and where your brain and body are back in sync. All starting with the simple act of drinking the right glass at the right time with the right ingredients. Fat loss after 60 is not about extreme diets, endless exercise, or magical supplements. It's about restoring communication between your brain, gut, and metabolism. Over time, that communication weakens due to chronic stress, poor sleep, blood sugar instability, and low-grade inflammation. These factors interfere with hormone signaling and slow down fat-burning processes. But here's the good news. Your body is designed to bounce back even at 60, 70, or beyond if you give it the right inputs. One of the most powerful ways to do that is through a simple morning ritual. Just one glass of a targeted fat-burning drink every morning for 10 days can help switch your body from fat-storing mode to fat-burning mode. It's not about effort, it's about strategy. And the strategy works because it speaks the language of your biology. That glass contains a handful of natural ingredients: warm water to hydrate and wake up your digestion, fresh lemon to stimulate liver detoxification, apple cider vinegar to improve insulin sensitivity, cayenne pepper to increase thermogenesis, and ginger to soothe the digestive tract and reduce inflammation. Each component targets a different part of your metabolism. Lemon provides vitamin C and flavonoids that support liver enzymes. Apple cider vinegar delays gastric emptying and flattens glucose spikes. Cayenne contains capsaicin, which stimulates brown fat and boosts your resting energy burn. Ginger acts as a digestive tonic and balances cortisol. Taken together, these ingredients don't just improve digestion, they ignite your fat metabolism from the moment you wake up. The nervous system is the first responder to this signal. When you drink this glass in a calm, fasted state, the compounds immediately activate the vagus nerve, which connects your gut and brain. This is crucial because the vagus nerve governs appetite, digestion, and inflammation levels. When stimulated properly, it sends a safety signal to your brain, reducing the stress response, calming cortisol, and encouraging the body to use fat for energy instead of preserving it. This single act of morning vagus nerve stimulation sets the tone for the entire day. You feel less hungry, less reactive to stress, and more mentally alert, all of which support healthy fat loss. As you repeat this process daily, your body begins to adapt. By day 5 or 6, the gut microbiome begins to shift. The bacteria that thrive on processed food and sugar begin to die off, while beneficial microbes that regulate fat metabolism start to flourish. These microbes help produce short-chain fatty acids that signal your body to reduce fat storage and improve insulin sensitivity. This change leads to a flatter belly, not from starvation, but from a decrease in bloating, water retention, and gut inflammation. Your stomach feels lighter and your digestive system runs more efficiently. You're not just losing weight, you're healing your metabolism at the microbial level. By the second week, your hormonal rhythm begins to balance. Blood sugar levels become more stable throughout the day, and the peaks and crashes that drive cravings diminish. Ghrelin, the hunger hormone, starts to follow a predictable rhythm. Leptin, the fullness hormone, becomes more effective. You find yourself eating less, not because you're trying to, but because your brain finally hears your body's natural signals again. This is the return of metabolic intelligence. Your body remembers how to regulate hunger, how to burn fat, and how to stay energized, all without the constant struggle. This transformation isn't just physical, it's deeply psychological and emotional. As the fog lifts and energy returns, you start to feel like yourself again. Your clothes fit better, your sleep improves, you move with more ease. You feel confident going for walks, preparing healthy meals, or simply starting your day with purpose. That one glass each morning is more than a drink, it's a message to your cells, your brain, your hormones, and your future self. It says we are no longer stuck, we are resetting, realigning, and rebuilding. And it all started with a small but powerful commitment, 10 days, one glass at a time.